Plongez dans le grand bain de la vie locale avec Radio Grand Lac sur 92.1.
Your English Weekly. Your English Weekly. La chronique 100% en anglais de Radio Grand Lac avec Sinead.
Oh, welcome to Your English Weekly. Bonjour à tous ceux qui nous écoutent en 92.1 FM et bienvenue à l'émission Your English Weekly, animée par moi-même, Sinead, professeur d'anglais. Cette émission stimule la langue anglaise et l'expression anglaise. Vous pouvez l'écouter toutes les semaines de le mardi du midi et quart à midi et demi. Chaque semaine, vous pouvez soit découvrir un article inspiré de Le Gardien, de le magazine Vocab ou d'un étudiant de Your English Workshop ou l'Université de Savoie, comme aujourd'hui avec Clémence. Vous pouvez réécouter cette émission sur YouTube. Cette émission aujourd'hui est sponsorisée par Your English Workshop, qui est un centre de formation pour l'apprentissage d'anglais certifié Calliope. Nous organisons les stages d'anglais pour les primaires et les collégiennes pendant les vacances scolaires en petits groupes. L'axe principal de ces stages est d'améliorer leur expression orale et qu'ils prennent confiance. Restez à l'écoute dans les 15 prochaines minutes pour notre expression de la semaine et notre conversation en anglais avec Clémence Ferrand et avec quelques nouveaux mots de la semaine. La leçon de cette semaine est de niveau B2-C1. Hi and welcome to Your English Weekly. My guest today is Clémence Ferrand, a student from the University of Savoie, Mont Blanc. Hello, Clémence.
Hi, Sinead.
Clémence, do we say Clémence Ferrand? Is that how we say it?
Ferrand.
Ferrand in French, of course, yes. Okay, so Clémence, before we start, we've got our little expression of the week. And now, I don't know if you know this, but have you ever heard of when pigs fly?
No, I haven't heard about this.
Okay, well, stay tuned with us, and at the end of the show, I will tell you what when pigs fly means. Okay, so Clémence, would you like to introduce yourself to our listeners today?
Yeah, sure. So, hi everyone, my name is Clémence. I'm here today to talk about green chemistry. So, a few words about me. I'm a 25 years old Frenchie. I love to speak English, try new things, and I'm doing my best to be involved in preserving the environment and a wonderful world.
Yeah, and that's what you do in university, isn't it?
Yes, I'm trying. So a few years ago, I started to study chemistry and physics at university. Then I went to study the environmental engineering in Finland for a year. And during this exchange, I discovered a particular interest in the environment and the surrounding science. This led me to the master degrees in chemistry, which I'm currently doing.
Yeah, that's how I met you, Clémence, isn't it?
Yes.
In our English classes during this time. Okay, so Clémence, today we're going to talk about green chemistry, which is fantastic because it's something that everybody is interested today in. We always want to make our world a little better place to live. So, Clémence, before we start, could you give a few words to our listeners? So the first word I'd like you to explain to our listeners is chemistry. What does chemistry mean?
Sure. To be short, chemistry is the study of matter. I will speak about it a bit later. But
okay.
Yes.
Okay. And matter. What is matter?
Matter, that's a physical substance that is basically anything that can be take up space, and can be weighed.
Okay, fantastic. Isolated. That's a word we hear quite a lot today. Isolated.
Usually we speak about isolated for a place, like an area that is difficult to access, away from towns or cities.
Okay, guidelines.
A guideline, that's information that suggests how things should be done.
Okay. Hazardous.
Dangerous.
Yes, dangerous. Feedstock.
Feedstock, that's an unprocessed material used to produce goods, energy, or more.
Mm-hmm. Depleting.
It's to consume, to use up something.
Mm-hmm. And something then that could be gone forever.
Yes.
Breakdown.
Breakdown is to divide it something into separate parts.
Okay. Innocuous.
Harmless.
Cutlery.
It's what you're using to eat, so knives, forks, spoons.
Okay. Ecoticity.
Ecotoxicity is the ability of a chemical agent to have a negative effect on the environment.
Yeah, thank you for the correction because I didn't pronounce it correctly. Real time.
It's the time during which a process occurs, so as it happens.
Okay. And handy.
I will say easy to use or practical.
Very good. So these are all words that you're going to hear now Clémence using in her little talk about green chemistry. So can you explain to us what is chemistry?
Yeah, sure. Before we speak about green chemistry, let's quickly come back to what precisely chemistry is. So it's pretty hard and tricky to answer this question because chemistry is all around us, is nearly everywhere, from the clothes you're wearing, the food you're eating, the cosmetics product you're using, to medicine, technologies such as phone, cameras, or even satellites. Anything you can touch, taste, smell, or see is made of chemicals. Those chemicals can be natural, made by Mother Earth, or artificial, which involves humans.
Okay, fantastic.
Now that you know a bit more about chemistry, let's talk about green chemistry and why we added green to the expression. So, as you may know, traditional chemistry is focused on the results and the finished products. And no matter how we do it and with what, if it works, that's great. Nevertheless, exposure to chemical and dangers is very high with this type of science. Often chemistry involves heavy processes, toxic substances, energy consumption, and the creation of waste, lots of waste usually, and it leads to environmental issues and the situation we're in now, unfortunately, which is climate change.
Yeah, and this is where the green chemistry really has its place today.
Yes, trying to reduce and minimize the pollution. And even in most isolated place, there is a climate change and pollution.
Mm-hmm. And so this is why you have created for us today a few guidelines in the 12 principles of green chemistry.
Yes, so a few years ago, in a bit of what changed, scientists decided to move forward an environmentally friendly chemistry, known today as green chemistry. So the greens involves less waste, less co-products, less use of toxic products, and also the study of life cycle of the products, because it's good to have products, but it's better to think about what you need to do to recycle it at the end and avoid waste. So the green chemistry concepts follow a guideline named the 12 Principles of Green Chemistry. And here are some examples. So one of this principle is prevention. It means to prevent waste rather than to treat or clean up waste after it has been created. Another one is less hazardous chemical synthesis, because synthetic methods should be designed to use and generate substance with little or no toxicity for human health and the environment. We also found another principle, which is designed for energy efficiency. Energy requirements of chemical processes should be recognized for their environmental and economic impacts and minimized. If it's possible, synthetic methods should be conducted at ambient temperature and pressure, so we have less energy to consume. We also speak about use of renewable feedstocks. A raw material or feedstock should be renewable rather than depleting whenever technically and economically practicable. We also can find design for degradation, because chemical products should be designed so that at the end of their function, they break down into innocuous degradation products and do not persist into the environment. because we don't want to find pollutants and chemical products in the environment. And the last one I can speak about is real-time analysis for pollution prevention. It's quite simple. It's just to use analytical methodologies to monitor and control pollution at the time, like in real time, in the environment.
Clémence, I know we had to say earlier that we couldn't speak about everything because there's so much on green chemistry. But that was fantastic to give us all the 12 guidelines that exist. Now, I think, if I'm right, you created a few tips for our listeners to listen to today of how they can participate in green chemistry by doing little things. Am I right?
Yeah, sure. I just try to think and find some ideas to go greener, like using your own bags when you go shopping, to keep packing at a minimal and refuse overpacking. Also, prepare yourself waste-free lunch. So try to use renewable containers, drinking bottles, and cutlery. No more plastic. So plastic is very handy and cheaper, but it's complex to recycle, and it releases micropollutants that are toxic for health in the environment.
And it doesn't take a second to take your own cutlery with you when you're taking your bag.
Exactly. So you should think about it. I know it's an easy way to just go with plastic, but we need to think a bit more.
But I think people are becoming more and more conscious of this today, and they're doing... Well, I see less and less people at university or in school or even at home that we try today not to take any plastic. So it is starting to become more natural, even though it's a long process to change people's habits.
Yeah, I mean, everyone is trying to do their best, so it's better to do a small thing than nothing at all.
Oh, I know, absolutely. Okay, anything else for us?
Maybe be careful to your electronics. Don't throw your electronics anywhere, but only in specific bins to be sure they will be recycled correctly.
And there's a lot of components that are actually quite precious that can be recycled and be reused for other things. I know in mobile phones we find some gold, little tiny particles of gold.
Yes.
So that's interesting too. Okay, anything else for our listeners?
I will just maybe try to go for organic laundry detergent or organic cleaning products. So at least we don't have too much pollutant in water.
Yes, because we forget about that, don't we?
It's easy and we're used to it, so we're just doing it.
Yeah, without thinking about the consequences behind it.
True.
Okay, well, thank you, Clémence, for all of this today. Now, let's come back to our expression. Now, the expression was, do you remember what the expression was?
When pigs fly?
Yes, when pigs fly. So this means that when something will never happen. So, for example, could you give me a little example, Clémence, of how we could use when pigs fly?
Okay, let's try. Maybe will the world be 100% ecological?
Oh, that's for sure. When pigs fly, which means it will never happen at 100%. We can aim for 99%.
Exactly, but 100 is hard to reach.
Very, very hard to reach. Well, listeners, that's all from us today. So if you wish to listen to this podcast again, don't hesitate to find us on YouTube. You will also see my Facebook page, Instagram page with the expression of the week. So have a lovely week. And I'll be back next week with another guest, another subject. Also, as you may remember, stay tuned because we have Patrick Masson, who's with the Place aux Associations, oh my bad French, excuse me, with the president of the department for the Restos du Cœur. And at 5 p.m. this evening, we have 1 hour, 1 commune, Grésy-sur-Aix with our famous Jean-Pierre. So please stay with us all today, and thank you again for listening to us, and thank you, Clémence, for coming.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Your English Weekly. Weekly. La chronique 100% en anglais de Radio Grand Lac avec Sinead.
Vous écoutez Radio Grand Lac sur le 92.1.